Just ahead, also Brooks picks up a big money endorsement for her race for the U.S. Senate seat. Plus, the DMV is excited again because guess who's coming back?
That's right, the pandas are coming back to the Smithsonian National Zoo. I've got the story coming up on CTV News.
And are you ready for the summer?
With summer just a few weeks away, it's time to get that AC unit tuned up. I'm Byron Scott. We'll have that story coming up.
Good evening, this is CTV News for May 30th. I'm Mariah Jalad.
And I'm Katera Jones. Thanks for joining us. President Joe Biden signs legislation aimed at addressing the shortage of law enforcement officers around the county. It's called Recruit and Retain Act and was sponsored in the House by Glenn Ivey and Republican Wesley Hunt of Texas. The law essentially makes it easier for law enforcement agencies to hire new officers, in part by providing the agencies with the resources to combat staffing shortages.
Well, here in Prince George's County, not only do we have the Prince George's County Police Department, we have multiple municipal police departments and at the community level, say like Bowie, Greenbelt, Cheverly, and others. And so all of them are having challenges recruiting and retaining the police officers that they need to be fully staffed. So we're hoping that this will help to increase that pipeline for Prince George's County Police Departments, for police departments across the state, and police departments across the country.
The law also calls for a comprehensive study aimed at providing data on recruitment and retention challenges and documenting the impact on public safety.
Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate Angela Alsobrooks receives endorsement from MoveOn.org, a political action committee that supports progressive candidates. The race between Alsobrooks and Republican former Governor Larry Hogan is drawing national attention, and this endorsement is a sign that the already expensive race will need a lot more funding. The race is also important to U.S. progressives and Democrats who are looking to keep the Senate majority. And a beloved feature of the National Zoo, giant pandas, will be returning this year, just months after we had to say goodbye to DC's pandas last November. Two new pandas named Bao Li and Qing Bao will be back in this panda habitat by the end of the year. The Smithsonian National Zoo signed a new research and breeding agreement with the panda's home country, China, that runs for the next 10 years. Have you seen the pandas before?
Yes, of course, and I was excited to see them again, and I just saw the litter they have.
Wish we had been here in time.
I think it'll be pretty cool. The pandas are very interesting. It'll be nice to have a hard to find endangered species in here.
We just saw on the news this morning, literally on our hotel, that there were going to be pandas, and we told her, and now she's upset that she doesn't see any pandas. But
yeah. Do you like pandas?
Pandas.
The black and white bears have always been a symbol of diplomacy between the U.S. and China, with the first pair being gifted in 1972. As diplomatic relations between the two countries have become stressed, China gradually withdrew pandas from zoos around the U.S. But with the announcement of the new panda pair, it seems ties between the countries are strengthening. The Chinese ambassador says he encourages everyone to care for China-U.S. relations just as you care for pandas. And we're still waiting to hear the exact arrival date of Bao Li and Qing Bao, but we know they'll be once again traveling by FedEx Panda Express. And once the pandas arrive and get settled in their new habitat, a public debut date will be announced and we'll get to meet the new bears. And after the Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore in March, many might be worrying about the risk of another collapse at other bridges they use every day. That's why researchers at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore are now assessing the safety of bridges around the country to determine how likely another disaster like the Key Bridge collapse could be. The research team will focus on large bridges near major ports of entry, and researchers will do this by building models of other bridges to determine the probability of a ship veering off course and causing catastrophe.
Montgomery County's executive picks the next person to lead the fire department, and his nominee has ties to Prince George's. County Executive Mark Elrich nominates Corey Smedley to be the next fire chief of the Fire and Rescue Services Department. Smedley has more than 3 decades of experience in fire rescue services and in leadership positions. He served as deputy fire chief of the Prince George's Fire Department and is the former fire chief for the city of Alexandria. Smedley says it was his sister, who was a firefighter in Prince George's, that inspired him to join the Fire and Rescue Services.
If I am the one that's ultimately chosen, I will never let you down. I will continue to value everyone. And what I heard that resonated with me each time I had a conversation with someone is, we want a seat at the table and we want to be valued. And that's a simple request. And if it is me, that will occur. You will have a seat at the table and you are going to be valued, and we're going to do this together.
The Montgomery County Council will have to confirm the nomination. Federal leaders are calling on a new IRS pilot program a success. The Regional Leadership Council, which is chaired by Congressman Steny Hoyer, recently discussed the success of the direct file pilot program with White House officials. The Internal Revenue Service launched the free pilot program during last tax filing season. It was designed to allow specific filers an opportunity to file their 2023 federal tax returns online. Officials say more than 140,000 taxpayers took part in the initiative. The Prince George's County Police Department has identified and charged a second suspect in connection with a fatal shooting that occurred at a recent car meet. The suspect is 21-year-old Kaimon Harrell of Virginia. He's been charged with the murder of 26-year-old John Phillips of Waldorf. Officers responded to a shopping center parking lot on the 6400 block of Marlboro Pike back on May 19th. When police arrived, they found Phillips inside a vehicle suffering from gunshot wounds. Harrell was taken into custody in Prince William County this morning and is awaiting extradition back to Prince George's.
And a man was killed early this morning after a police shooting in Silver Spring. The situation began around 11:40 last night when police received a call about a person in distress inside an apartment located in the 3300 block of Hampton Point Drive. Montgomery County Police say the adult man was armed with a gun inside the apartment with his mother. After an hours-long barricade, law enforcement decided to enter the apartment, where a SWAT team engaged and shot the man. He was taken to a local hospital where he later died. His mother and other residents were unharmed. And you're watching CTV News. Coming up,
the FBI and the Maryland Attorney General's office is warning drivers of a new toll scam. We'll have that story after the break.
I was a quarterback at Hardaway High School, college first-round draft pick. On and off the field, we were taught to not show any signs of weakness. During the football season, I would stop eating, but I didn't know I was depressed. I thought that something was wrong with me. For 20 plus years was physical. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father, as a man, and as a husband. Put the importance on your mental health. I'm not scared to talk about it anymore. The first tool is therapy. The second one is positive self-talk. And then journaling, putting your thoughts on paper. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal, love your mind.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce. We all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Welcome back. Maryland signs a new 3-year agreement with NASA. Governor Wes Moore announces that the state's Department of Commerce signed a memorandum of understanding with NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center and the Maryland Economic Development Corporation. Officials say the partnership will allow the state to grow its aerospace economy in Greenbelt and the Lower Eastern Shore, which is the location of 2 NASA facilities. Through the agreement, the Maryland Economic Development Corporation will host business outreach events in the county and in the Lower Eastern Shore.
A recent study shows Maryland is among the top 10 states with the highest household incomes in the U.S. The data comes from QR Code Generator, which analyzed U.S. Census data to estimate household incomes based on annual earnings in 2022. Maryland placed number 5 with an average household income of over $125,000. New Jersey topped the list with an average income just over $134,000. Virginia ranked number 10 with just over $119,000.
And Maryland just received over $16 million in federal funding to combat drug trafficking and overdoses across the state. Maryland lawmakers say that these funds are part of a larger effort to stop the rapid flow of fentanyl and other deadly opioids throughout the country. Of the $16 million allotted, $100,000 will be set aside for Garrett County and Pocomoke City's surrounding areas. The goal, to provide better community support, especially in regions with high overdoses.
The FBI and the Maryland Attorney General's office are working together to crack down on a toll fee scam that received more than 2,000 complaints since early March. Scammers are sending text alerts to drivers in 3 states, including Maryland, about outstanding toll fees that, if unpaid, will result in a $50 fine. The Attorney General advises Maryland motorists to avoid these alerts and to check their Maryland Easy Pass status at driveriveasy.com. You can also file an identity theft complaint with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center.
Looking for a good book to dive into this summer? Well, the University of Maryland Smith School of Business has you covered because they just released their 21st annual summer reading list for business leaders. The list features a memoir about the scientific advances of artificial intelligence, a biography from the only American president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, and 13 other fascinating reads to jumpstart your summer. And the Smith School of Business is an internationally recognized leader in management, education, and research, offering undergraduate, master's, doctoral, and executive educational programs.
The Prince George's County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated awards a $50,000 endowment to Prince George's County Community College in honor of the chapter's 50 years of service to the Prince George's County community. The sorority already sponsors a scholarship for students who want to attend the college, but now they will be able to help more people obtain higher education.
An endowment means that you're leaving a legacy that extends beyond those of us who are present now into our future generations. And it affords us the opportunity to invest in their well-being, even when many of us may not be here to see it. But we know that from this present season, there's always the expectation that we're giving something back.
We also recognize that a college education is becoming cost prohibitive to some students. So this is just our way of being able to help alleviate the financial burden of attending college.
This is just phenomenal. It's historical for the chapter of over 1,200 members to raise funds to support the future of so many bright and talented students. It's a force multiplier, as they say.
Earlier this month, the sorority gave a $50,000 endowment to Bowie State University.
And a recent survey conducted by LendingTree found 78% of consumers now consider fast food to be a luxury purchase due to how expensive the meals have become. Half of those polled said they view fast food as a luxury because they're struggling financially. And some restaurant chains have been prompted to offer steeper promotions in an attempt to lure those customers back. This past Monday, Wendy's rolled out a $3 budget-friendly breakfast meal, and McDonald's is also rolling out a $5 value meal beginning on June 25th. And both offerings will be for a limited time.
With summer right around the corner, 'tis the season to get your HVAC checked out. Byron Scott has our story.
They are busy as bees at Baylor Engineering in Upper Marlboro, and why not? It's late spring, summer is just around the corner, temps are heating up, and AC units need some TLC. Don Risher says he can't stress enough how important it is to have regular maintenance performed on your system.
Every single manufacturer recommends a tune-up or a checkup before the summer and before the heating season. Really a good idea to be proactive, because when somebody calls up in the middle of the summer, their system's crapped out, and now they got to wait 2.5 weeks in the middle of summer to get a new system installed. Better to be proactive and do it while your system's still working.
The company, which is woman-owned and managed, has been around since 1962. It has a few dozen employees, and as summer temps rise, so too do the orders for repairs and replacement.
I mean, when it gets hot, it's pedal to the metal. I mean, we are a weather-driven business without question. I mean, when it gets hot, everybody's stuff breaks down.
Keep in mind there are a few small things you can do to keep your system running more smoothly and also save you money. Number one, Risher says, leave the interior doors slightly open in your home.
There's the old school thought was we're going to block this room off because we don't use it. That's old school science. The new science is indicating better to leave the interior doors open about 6 inches and not block off a room. You want to make sure there's no bushes around this, you know, because it's air. It's taking the heat from inside the home and pushing and releasing it into the atmosphere, just the heat. And if there's bushes all around here, it's like a blanket. You can't release the heat. It is really, really, really hot out. If you take a hose and take cold water and just gently spray the outdoor unit, especially on the fins, just gently spray it, it makes a huge difference in how colder the air is coming out of the registers.
Also, says Risher, if you are at work or away on vacation, never turn off your unit.
A lot of times people do that, and then they may be gone for weeks or so, and they come back and there's mold everywhere because the humidity.
To sum it all up, regular maintenance can help you breathe a regular breath of fresh air. Byron Scott, CTV News.
Still to come on CTV News, Simon Buggs is here with a preview of Thursday's sports page.
That's right, and he's talking to the owner of a well-known local batting cage. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Hey there everyone, and coming up on today's sports page, on deck batting cage owner Andre Hockaday gives his thoughts on the importance of his facility, and also an Orioles player makes history and joins some elite company. You don't want to miss this.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
With macular degeneration, you lose your central vision.
You have a blind spot right in the center of your face, so I can't actually see your face.
So even that little circle in which I could see became a big blur.
I was 65 when I first was diagnosed with glaucoma.
There were no symptoms. I had no headaches.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
You lose mobility, independence, changes your entire life.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
My husband tells me that I have beautiful brown eyes, and I don't want to lose that.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Diversity is in our nature. It is in nature, too. Biodiversity. It connects us and sustains us. But nature's biodiversity is at risk more than ever before, and the future of all life is in our hands. So what will you do? Love it or lose it?
It is so hot out today, but I'm about to get this hike in, and I just had to show you the view. Beautiful.
Yo, you should come out here. We came outside to unwind.
Oh, wow.
What's the laptop? Transmission. We outside, come find us.
Okay, everyone, it's that time, the start of your Thursday Sports Page. We begin first with some baseball news. While Prince George's County isn't exactly known for it, this area is absolutely riddled with baseball talent. Whether it be middle school, high school, or college level, some of these athletes have a bright future in baseball. But unfortunately, because baseball isn't as popular as other sports in the area, such as football or basketball, there aren't many batting cages that players can use to improve their game. One of the few, however, is located in Capitol Heights, the on-deck batting cage. I recently caught up with the owner of the batting cage, and he talked about the importance of his facility.
I think it's very, very, very important. It gives us another outlet, and not necessarily the typical basketball and football, which is nothing wrong with it, but you know, it's just another outlet that we can explore. And as I've seen in the community, we have some awesome talent here, and they are striving in college, and some are going to the pros. So it's a great outlet for kids to be in here. There's kids in here that come in here on Friday nights. You know, they could be anywhere else, but you know, this is another place where they can come.
Now to more baseball news. The Baltimore Orioles wrapped up their series with the Boston Red Sox yesterday, beating them 6-1. But not only did Baltimore add another win to their record, a player of theirs also got into the record books. This grand slam by third baseman and shortstop Gunnar Henderson helped him become just the fourth player in Orioles history to have 50 career home runs before turning 23. And through 54 games, the 22-year-old has totaled 18 homers to go along with 41 RBIs. And this has helped the Birds compile a 35-19 record, which is good enough for second place in the AL East. Henderson and the rest of the team will be in action next versus the Tampa Bay Rays tomorrow at 7:05. Moving on to the NBA, the Washington Wizards have officially found their next head coach. Former interim head coach Brian Keefe had his interim tag removed, officially making him the head coach of the team. Keefe took over in January of this season after former head coach Wes Unseld Jr. was moved to a front office role after beginning the season at 7-36. And with Keefe the rest of the way, Washington went 8-31, finishing the season at 15-67 and missing out on the playoffs for the third consecutive season. And wrapping up sports, the Washington Mystics continue to struggle to begin this season, as they are now 0-7 after falling to the Atlanta Dream last night, 73-67. Their next opponent will be the New York Liberty tomorrow at 7:30. And that wraps up your Thursday Sports Page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. That wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
All right, class. What do you want to be when you grow up?
For me, it was becoming a Prince George's County police officer.
Because to us, it's not just a career. It's a way to serve your community.
Help those in need and earn respect.
by making a positive difference in people's lives.
With so much opportunity to advance and grow.
Every day is an adventure.
That's why we're all proud to be part of the Prince George's County Police Department. Come be a part of our family.